Hi, Scorpio rising sign. Here is your weekly forecast starting on the 14th of May until 19th of May. So we are starting a bit of an eighth house activation for you. Still, the seventh house is pretty active, and of course, the sixth house is also active. But the sixth house is not as active this week as the seventh or the eighth house. So welcome back to my channel. We are still hitting your seventh house of partnership energy. This week starts with you looking at the other people in your life, like partners, clients, enemies, and ends with you overhauling your shared bank accounts, your daily work habits. So, what really happens is that we have got a Sun, Mercury, Ceres, Atlantis trigger to your seventh house. Sun, Mercury, Ceres is a triple conjunction. So, you might be finalizing a deal or a commitment with another person. But Atlantis here acts as kind of like a bit of a whistleblower. If a partner is hiding something or a contract is unstable, then potentially it will pop up until the 6th of August. So, it is about you having to look at whether people in your life are reliable. We can use that series energy to see if this relationship nurtures you or just drains you. Or if you're signing a contractual agreement, check those Atlantis leaks, ensure that there are no hidden clauses, and maybe do invest in certain type of mediation, for example. So if a relationship is stuck, maybe we just need a grounded third party who can help secure the foundation. It's about working on the foundation of the relationship, looking at the needs of each other, especially with Ceres. With Mercury, we're going to have to be able to talk about it, and the Sun just highlights your relationship department. However, this is also a reminder that we shouldn't be ignoring the red flags. So if there is a structural issue there, or a behavioral issue, then don't assume it will go away. Also, don't overcommit. Don't promise more than you can physically deliver just to kind of keep the peace. But Taurus is about simplicity, so we don't need a rocket science. It's not a rocket science, basically, to fix a Taurian part of our chart. Sometimes just a glass of wine, quality time together, um, sitting down on the couch and doing some stuff together, cooking meals together, and so forth. And also, it is asking you not to become a hero. Taurus energy often asks for equality. Don't carry 90% of the weight in a 50-50 partnership because the seventh house is about 50-50. But Taurus energy often feels that it can carry more weight. So we do have got Mars and Chiron conjunction happening in your sixth house. This is the house of work and health. So this is a bit of a raw nerve type of energy there regarding your daily grind. Maybe you feel burnt out or physically a little bit blocked. Maybe it's about having to have some hard talk at work. Maybe a colleague of yours is crossing the line. Then we can use this Marsian fire to set a definitive boundary there. Maybe you have got some lingering injury or habit, and maybe we need a decisive, kind of aggressive treatment. And then that could be clearing it because Mars wants to cut things out and tackle the job you hate most first thing in the morning. So it's out of the way, and then your day kind of becomes better. However, don't push through pain. Mars Chiron can lead to injury if you ignore your body's warning signs. Or don't judge others for not being as intense as fast, for example, as you are right now. Because Mars is all that Aries planetary energies are speeding you up. So you might have become very efficient nowadays. And also don't ignore the boring stuff. The new moon in Taurus says the healing is in the routine. And Mars and Chiron, Mars just wants to get going. It wants to do things quickly. And if it's a boring, repetitive task, we can actually struggle with that a little bit. Now, the Mercury shifts into Gemini and then makes a conjunction to Uranus. And that's all in your eighth house, the house of shared resources, taxes, debt, and intimacy. This could be really much of an aha moment regarding money. So maybe this is about you decide you change your password to your bank account. You're going to check your Stripe, Revolut, PayPal account. Uranus can bring a bit of a technical shocks to your funds as well. You might get a lightning bolt insight on how to settle a debt, what to invest into, to restructure your investments, for example, or you might be having an intimate conversation with someone. So maybe it's about a topic that you would like to talk to with your partner about. Uranus actually does love the truth. However, this is not necessarily a day or two when we should be making certain type of impulsive purchases. Even though Uranus and Mercury together is the genius concept, but it can be kind of like a flash in the pan, right? So let's just wait 48 hours so that we can dig deeper. Eighth house as in dig in. Let's see some extra details. And also, you might be experiencing certain type of technical glitches, for example, in your bank application. Maybe a transfer is going to bounce back, but it might be just a sign to update your system, not necessarily a sign of, something went wrong there. And also, the eighth house is very secretive as well. So secrets do or can come out eventually. So if you have got any type of secret to share right now, which you don't necessarily want to talk about, maybe you want to talk about them because your partners can actually get to know that, and it might hurt even more. Mercury is squaring the nodes as well. Now your nodes are sitting in the fifth and 11th house, and Mars even shifts into the sign of Taurus as well. So Mercury is squaring the house of joy and a house of community axis. So maybe it's a realization that your deep financial, emotional commitments are maybe conflicting with your social group. So you might feel like that your finances are somehow being drained by certain type of social events, even your friends. Mercury makes beautiful trine to Pluto, and Pluto is in your fourth house. It's a bit of a legacy power. So maybe it's a conversation about your home or family roots. It might be unlocking a financial breakthrough. Maybe you suddenly decide that you want to be doing an inheritance document, for example. It's an uncomfortable topic, right? Which is very eighth house. We don't want to talk about it, but Pluto kind of says here that sometimes it's necessary. We have to be upgrading our will, for example. Maybe if a group of friends is costing you too much emotionally, financially, then we can use the Pluto trine to kind of prune the connection a little bit. And as Mars enters your seventh house, we move from that fighting for work to more of a steadily building something together with the partner. However, Mars can bring arguments in the relationship as well, especially if the equality is kind of like missing there that I have spoken about before. Now the South Node is in the 11th house, so we can actually get worried about how we look to the group and how they kind of look at us, really. While the North Node in your fifth house wants you to focus on your personal creative dreams a little bit. So it might feel like that someone is trying to talk you out of a goal of yours. Maybe it's out of jealousy, eighth house. Maybe it's out of kind of like a bit of their personal fear. And with Virgo, Safra, we want to micromanage. So we might be micromanaging our friends. It's actually a lot easier to see their flows during this period of time. So maybe keep that info for your own strategy. Don't use it just yet, or don't try to fix your friends. But also don't allow your friends to try to fix you either. because North Node in this in your fifth house wants you to be an authentic self of yours. And maybe you have an intuition about a property or a living situation with Mercury in the meantime trining Pluto, which is kind of like linked to your financial future. Maybe you have got this hunch to sell your property. People want to talk you out of that, and so forth. So it really feels like that there is a lot of focus on payment and investments this week. It feels like that you have got a creative vision. It feels like that you are ready to collaborate with others, with a partner, with just a business person. But maybe don't obsess over a friend's criticism or a Virgo style group chat drama. You can really use that Pluto Mercury trine as an X-ray, and looking at your roots, you looking at your confidence issues, for example. But also, this is the aspect of suspicion as well. So it can lead to a bit of a paranoia. But I feel like Mercury and Pluto together is very much about strategic behavior. So you might be doing a lot of strategic kind of like collaborations as well as work projects, for example. And maybe your partner is going to have a lot of wild financial ideas. And maybe it's the breakthrough that you guys actually need financially, or maybe this is just an emotional kind of like wild idea. Yes, with Mercury squaring the North Node in your fifth house, while we have got a lot of seventh house activation, this might be even an indication that you guys are going to have to start working a little bit more on your intimacy department. Maybe the last couple of months, with a lot of Aries activations, you have been focusing on work, on your daily grind, and then balancing your private life with your work life. And maybe we have forgotten to have fun a little bit. And we're going to have to start thinking about that. So, thank you for being here, Scorpio rising sign. And I will see you in my next forecast. Take care. Bye bye.